Hello, I'm Andrea from the Creative Dream Incubator, and this is Creative Dream TV, where I answer your questions about how to bring your beautiful creative dreams to life. And today I have a question from Valerie, and she says, my biggest question is about getting past the fear. I know what I want to do, and I'm full of ideas, but what if no one cares about what I have to offer? How do you get past the fear that what you have is not good enough? Another issue is getting started. I'm big on planning, but not big on putting things into action. Thank you for your help, Valerie. So that second fear, the second issue, the one of not knowing how to get started or sort of making plans and then not really acting on them, I would guess isn't really a separate issue. It's actually the consequence or the effect of the first issue, which is the fear that it's not going to be good enough, or fear of rejection. And so I think if you would focus in on working on that part, then the getting started part will become much easier for you. And so the first thing I want to say about the fear of rejection or fear of the thing not being good enough is that unfortunately, I don't think there's any artist or any creative person out there who's putting their stuff out there who's never been rejected. And also say, I don't think there are any successful people in this world who never failed. And that actually rejection and failure aren't the end, and they're not an indicator that you're not good enough. It's actually just a part of the process. It's a part of getting from where you are to where you want to be. So where you are now, and you have to, I mean, I know it seems very obvious, but it's something that we tend to forget, is that you have to start where you are now. So if where you are now, you've never put this thing out there, the first part is kind of putting it out there hesitantly, putting it out there, maybe not getting the best response to it, putting it out there and learning in the process. So I want to share a little bit of my story to help explain what I mean. I had many years of having a lot of rejection, a lot of failure as creative things, like putting creative things out there, not having them be well received. I have tons and tons and tons of experience with that. And then when I started my creativity workshops, I was doing them in person. I had about 3 years of in-person workshops before I started to do them online. Those first workshops didn't go very well. You know, I had some where I had people, and then I had some where I would go and I would set everything up and no one would come. And then I would go back again the next week, so I was doing weekly ones then. Sometimes one person would come, sometimes two people, sometimes again no one. And the thing was, that was where I was at. I was at the point where I had never done it, and I was just starting, and I had everything to learn about not only putting on the workshops, but how to get people to come to the workshops. And all these things about how people will say that they'll be there and then they won't show up. And about how that doesn't have anything to do with me or my work. And about how your work is received in the world, that's about the world, that's about the people seeing it. It's not about you or the value of your work. So there's this process that has to happen through which you develop your own internal sense of worth. Because your sense of worth has to come from the inside. If you are putting things out there and needing other people to receive them in a certain way in order for you to feel that those things have value, it's never going to work. And I know that that's how we start out. We really feel like we need outside approval to know that what we're doing is right. And learning how to get inside approval and have your worth come from the inside, that's a process. It's not something that just happens overnight, but it's one of the things that differentiates people who are more successful from those who are less successful. You can keep putting things out there and keep trying if your whole sense of self-worth isn't tied up in how they're received by other people, because you're never going to be able to control that. And no matter how successful a person or an artist becomes, they're never guaranteed to know how the next thing will be received. There's always vulnerability required. There's always courage required in order to put something new out into the world. But I know I tend to touch upon this in all of the answers that I give in these videos because it's such a key part. That we think we need to wait until it's safe, or wait until we're assured that it's going to go well, wait until we're assured that it's going to be successful, that people are going to like it. And we can't wait. We have to decide for ourselves that we're ready to start. And we have to start where we are. Sometimes starting where you are means putting something out there, not having it go well, and getting so angry at how people don't see the value in it that you start to see the value in it. Sometimes that kind of experience actually helps you to develop more confidence in your work. Sometimes starting where you are means putting it out there and having it be really well received, but you don't know until you try. When I started doing my workshops, I didn't even know how little I knew about getting people to go to workshops. I didn't know that until I tried it and it didn't work. And then I realized, oh wow, look, I have a lot to learn here. It didn't occur to me that that was something that I could learn, or that was something that I had to learn. I thought, the way I saw other workshops, well, people put it out there and then people go. That's not the way it works. Lots of people do things and don't have anyone show up, or don't have very many people show up. That was something that I had to learn. It took me a few years to actually learn it and to feel confident and comfortable about it. But look now. Now I make a living doing that same thing. So you do get there. You can always get there, but you may not always get there on your first try, and it's actually probably pretty doubtful that you will, because your first try is like your first step. So if you can try to take some of the pressure off of having it have to be well received, having it have to be good enough, and just start where you are, knowing that you're always getting better anyway. Because the other part of the process of putting it out there now and learning, for me, learning how to get more people into the workshops, I also kept doing small workshops where I could connect more fully with people, and it helped me learn more about how to do the workshops. So in the process of putting it out there, you actually get better at your art, and you start to develop more of a mastery. And it's like you can't wait until you've already have mastery before you start doing it, because part of the process of attaining mastery is in doing it. So really, you're ready. Start where you are, put it out there, and don't see it as the end. See it as the first step. Okay, and know that there are people. There's me, who had no one coming to my workshops, and I still managed to find a way to do creativity workshops as my source of income, as my living. So if it doesn't work the first time, it doesn't mean it's not going to work. So I just really can't stress enough that do it anyway, and do it for the joy of doing it. Do it because it's important to you.